Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my favorite reads of quarter 3 of 2020. Quarter 3 include the books that I read in July, August, and September. And I have 4 books that were complete standouts that stood out more than the rest. The first book that is going to be a quarter 3 favorite is Adulthood Rights by Octavia E. Butler. This is a science fiction book, and it's the second book in the Xenogenesis trilogy. And this is the first series that I've read by Octavia Butler, and I haven't read any of the standalones either. This is my first look into her work, and I am super impressed. This is probably her most sci-fi series with lots of aliens. And the first book starts with the Earth is in big trouble, it's pretty much at the end of its days environmentally, and an alien ship comes and takes some of the humans up in the ship to save them, and they start working on Earth to recreate a livable habitat. They are doing this because this alien race needs new beings to create their offspring with. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, but it's not exactly a welcome one all the time. I really like the exploration of gender, of consent, of environmental issues. All kinds of issues are discussed in this series, and it's just genius. I love it so much, and I need to read the third one and everything else that Octavia Butler has written, and I wish I could get through them faster. The next book on my favorites list for these 3 months is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This is a fantasy series, a very strange one, and I don't know if I can explain what this is about very well. So I think I'm going to read the description on the back. It says, Carolyn knows she's a bit odd, but she figures that's only natural when she spent her life locked away in an infinite library, forced to study at the feet of a man who might be God. She's seen her share of terrible things in those years, even died a few times herself. Steve tries hard to be an ordinary guy, and he's been doing a pretty good job at it, until Carolyn shows up in his life with a tempting offer, a pair of red rubber galoshes, and exactly $327,000. Soon he finds himself swept up in a war waged on a scale he can barely comprehend, as powerful forces battle for control of the library and the future of the universe itself. Brilliantly plotted, blackly funny, truly epic in scope, and featuring a cast of characters that include a tutu-clad psychopath, a malevolent iceberg, and a lion named after an atomic bomb. The Library at Mount Char is the year's most ambitious and acclaimed fantasy debut, and a ride like none you'd ever been on before. Accurate. Okay, so it's not this year's most ambitious fantasy. This came out in 2015, so it's a backlist title, and it is really amazing, and the characters are very strange, and it is funny at times, but it is also gruesome, bloody at times as well. And the idea of the library is very cool, very mind-bending, and really made me think. It's just a really great concept, but you have to read it to find out more about it because I don't want to spoil anything. It was a really great fantasy read for me. Next is the Haunted Nights anthology. I just read this in September, and this is edited by Ellen Doutlow and Lisa Morton. This came out in 2017, and all of the stories in this are based around Halloween or the Day of the Dead. One story was the Day of the Dead, the rest were Halloween. And I loved every single story in this anthology. I don't know if it was just the Halloween theme vibes that I was getting, and it was the perfect time, and it got me right into the spooky Halloween mood that I was looking for. So that might have had something to do with it, but it also has something to do with every single story in this is really fun and well written. So I hardly ever give short story collections or anthologies 5 stars, but this one really was great, and it deserves all 5 of those stars for sure. And the last book of my favorites for Q3 of 2020 is Beneath by Christy DeMeester. This is a cult horror novel. It's small press from Word Horde, and this is from 2017. And this book holds nothing back. It follows a woman that is working for a newspaper to do an article on an expose article on this snake handling cult. And she has to go and interview all the people and write a story about it. She is very reluctant to go because she has a traumatic experience with a higher up person in her church when she was growing up as a young child that is, lots of trauma and baggage. And this is, a really tough situation she has to put herself in. She meets a young girl that may remind her of herself, and the pastor at this church kind of reminds him of someone from her past. And yeah, it deals with those kind of tough issues. This has to do with an old god that is awakened by this cult in some way. It also deals with issues of hyper-religiousness. A character to reminded me of the mom from Carrie, that kind of way too zealous kind of character. So really interesting book. A lot of really tough subject matter, and a lot of icky, gross horror. And I love it. It's one of my new favorite books. So that's Beneath by Christy DeMeester. These are my 4 favorite books from the last 3 months. Have you read any of these? Do you want to? If you like this video, you can hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks.